I wonder what my lady would say. I wonder what my lady would say. I wonder what my lady would say.
Hello, my name is Malerie. You're watching GCTV. I'm here with Taaffe, the director of the Brick House. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here.
Can you tell me about the Brick House? What does the organization do?
Well, the Brick House is a community resource center. We are highly adaptable to the needs of the community. And so who we are 20 years ago, what we are today, depends on what the community needs. We have a long-standing teen center, which we recently expanded into what we call Teen Center After Hours for older kids. We have parent and family support programming to help families with whatever issues and needs they may have. And we have art programming, which courses throughout the entire Brick House. We have a music studio, dance studio, an art studio, and a performance space. And so we draw heavily on the arts to provide programming for the youth and for adults, and to make that space available for community art groups, art, music, dance, theater, who may need the space.
What is your job in the organization?
I'm the executive director, so I am the ringleader of the chaos. I run the organization. I do a lot of the administrative work. I work with the staff around programming and support everybody where I can.
How did you get this job?
I was approached by the board through the organization they were using to recruit an executive director. And when I checked out the website, I kind of fell in love with the place. There's something kind of beautiful and holistic and loving about the space. And I was fortunate enough to be shortlisted for the job, and I got a chance to come to visit the space, and I really loved it. It became the kind of job that I wanted to do, because it's got programming to help young people, it's got programming to help families to address the crises that they face. I have a background in all the dimensions of the arts, so a place that put art at the heart of their work really spoke to my soul. And we're a community engaged organization, and I'm an anthropologist, and I have a long background in community engagement. So it's a very holistic package, and I really love the Brick House. And I think that it's got a very warm glow if you have the fortune to come visit us.
What was your career path like prior to working at the Brick House?
Well, it's a circuitous path. I started out working in the arts as a child. I was fortunate enough to get I was a kid on the rough side. Family didn't have a lot of money, and the neighborhood was tough. And somebody put art supplies in front of me when I was 9. And they told me what I did was good. I don't know if it was good. Maybe it was. But I found that the art gave me a sense of self-worth. And as my friends started drifting from misdemeanors to felonies, that art and the encouragement I got from my art made me feel like I was better than this. I didn't have to have the fate that people seem to want to stamp me for. And, combined with my mother dragging me into the theater, I kind of grew up in the arts. Got trained as a graphic artist, worked in the theater, had the fortune to work professionally in the theater. And being in New York, we kind of get lucky because the big world is right there around us. So I worked for New York Shakespeare Festival. I worked for a lot of organizations. And then my rock and roll career started taking off, and I had a nice musical career. I led a band for a while. I worked with James Brown and ODB from Wu-Tang Clan. We were from the same neighborhood, so we used to perform together before Wu-Tang Clan took off. And when my borough was looking for an arts council, looking to start a new arts council, they approached me because they liked the way I was organizing musicians. And so I had the fortune to build an arts council. I went off to grad school. I got a PhD in anthropology. I spent 7 years studying the conflict in Northern Ireland. I came back, taught for a little bit, and started working in public health and social justice. I did that for about a decade and a half, and then I got approached by the Brick House.
When you were younger, did you think this would be the job you would have?
No. I could not have imagined it. When I was a kid, I couldn't have imagined any of it. Although I have to say, as a child, I wanted to be the President of the United States. I wanted to be the center fielder for the New York Yankees, and I wanted to be the fifth Beatle. And over the course of my life, I have been the lead singer of a rock and roll band. I've been the leader of several organizations, and I'm the right center fielder for the Northampton Burglars, the softball team. So I guess I'm living the dream, but not in the way I could have imagined.
What advice would you give to your younger self based on what you know now?
Wow, that's a tricky one. I would say stay true to yourself. Do the right thing. Believe in yourself. Even if people tell you you can't do it, put in the hard work. You'd be surprised at what you can do. And I guess if someone says, can you do this? Say yes, and do the hard work to make sure you can.
What is your favorite part of your job?
I love all parts of my job, or at least most of them. I like the ability to create programming in response to community needs. So when I took the job, hunger was a clear issue in the community. Everybody, whether you're talking about people I would meet, community members, or I would talk to other organizations, food insecurity was a profound issue. So I took their guidance and began building a food pantry. It opened last June, and in 6 months we've gone from very small to medium size. So that's a way that I can positively impact people immediately. And then of course that brings people in, allows you to ask them, what do you need? And then whatever they tell you becomes the beginning of the next thing that you could do to solve problems in the community. And I love the teen center. It's hard to work sometimes because it's grown, and our teen center has grown. It's doubled in size in the last year and a half. But it's so immediate. And the chance to positively impact young people, that's where it begins. And if I can directly or indirectly through my staff offer the kids in our community the opportunity that I got when I was 9, where somebody saying, here's some art supplies. Oh, wow, that's really beautiful. Here, how can I help you to carry your dream forward? That's joy. And even if I'm the guy in the back just doing the paperwork, the fact that I can encourage my staff to dream a little and to respond and see these kids, filling their lives in positive ways, I'm very happy.
What skills do you think are essential for someone in your position?
Flexibility. Learn. You'll always be learning. Every day, something new happens. It may be a new challenge that I have to address. It may be a need that we have to resolve or come up with a solution for. But if you stay flexible, remain open to what you don't know and be prepared to rise up to the circumstances that you're confronted with. And then those are the basic skills. Beyond that, it's a lot of hard work and learning new things and then trying to build to tomorrow.
What keeps you motivated in this line of work?
The opportunity to help others. Get up in the morning, do the right thing. Try to make it to the end of the day not having done the wrong thing. And be responsive and kindly and look for ways to help.
How do you balance administrative responsibilities with community engagement?
That's a challenge sometimes. There's no such thing as a 40-hour work week for me. And so I oftentimes have to do my administrative work in the weekends, on the evenings. And during the day, I could be a little bit of an air traffic controller. But we bring the community in, so the community is right there. So the opportunity to ask somebody, say, what do you need, is ever present. And we have a rich connection, set of relationships with partners in the organization, other organizations, I'm sorry. So I'm constantly getting input and feedback from people and being able to ask the questions that allow me to keep a finger on the pulse and be able to respond to the needs that people bring up to us.
How does the Brick House get funding for its different programs?
We write grants. We do fundraising. We're fortunate to have a few state contracts which support our youth program, our parent family support program, and our art programming. And I asked my staff to dream a little, and my staff are very motivated. They're wonderful people to work with, and so they're constantly coming up with new ideas that are also coming out of their engagement with the community that they're working with, whether it be youth, parents and family, or the arts community, and so we're in this constant dialogue. And then, so somebody presents us with a challenge. We say, oh, how can we solve that problem? Is it something we can do? Do we need to go raise money for it? Do we need to go find a partner because this is bigger than us? And then so this conversation is just ongoing.
Can you speak about the history of the Brick House? Why was it formed originally?
Well, it was formed under fairly tragic circumstances. Several women were killed by their domestic partners, and the outcry in the community led to the formation of the Brick House, and then also an organization known as Heartwing, we partner with all the time. They were originally called Montague Catholic Social Ministries. And both our organizations rose up as a response to those tragedies. And over time we grew, first starting to address the needs of families and to address some of the crises that led to that domestic violence. And over time we built this robust programming for youth, for parents and families, and art as a way of healing. And we've Nowquit and Salison and Heartwing recently formed Franklin County Domestic Violence Task Force, and they invited me to join it. And so I see that as a way of coming home. 30 years, we've come back to the same issue, and we see an opportunity now to maybe help mitigate domestic violence, and together with all our partners, develop a more robust and positive solution so that there would be less of that.
How has the Brick House changed since its inception?
Well, I think it began very much as a volunteer-driven organization, and we still have that quality. Our board is very much an activist board, and very much community members of the community. And but over time, we've become more professionalized. As resources came in, our youth program has become more professional. All our programming has become more professional, but we still retain that community-centered approach to our work. So a good idea is never as far away as somebody walking through the door and saying, "Hey, can you help me solve this?" Or, "Hey, we could really use this." So I think that however we have professionalized and grown, and we have grown a lot, we still remain a very flexible organization that can respond quickly and easily to emergent needs in the community.
What are the biggest needs of Turners Falls, and how does the Brick House address these needs?
Downtown Turners Falls is the second poorest community in Massachusetts. People don't realize that. The there's an area of a neighborhood in New Bedford that's poor, but so there's a lot of poverty, and so we respond to that at the coalface. The food pantry that we created was in response most immediately to youth being hungry in our teen center and not knowing whether they would be going home to a dinner. And this was echoed by a lot of the work that other organizations had done that also pointed to the same challenge. So we responded in kind by building a food pantry. And now most recently, we're looking to unite on coalition all the food security organizations in Montague. There are 4 food pantries of various sizes. There's a community meals program at Our Lady of Peace. There's a group of volunteer home gardeners who donate what they grow in their gardens to the pantries. And the town helped us identify this issue. We began to identify the partners, and now we formed the Montague Food Security and Sustainability Coalition with the idea of connecting everybody involved in food, from the pantries to the farmers, to ultimately the retail stores, the farmers market, the community gardens. And our goal is to try and think as a community about food security, to try and develop mutual impact, because we're heading into a very tough period in time where funding for a lot of these programs is being cut. So how can we as a community address food security together? How can we, as multiple organizations committed to this work, bring each other together in ways that allow all of us to grow, all of us to share resources, and begin to build up so that we can then also look out for the farmers, look out for the retail community, and just grow together. And this will take us years, but that's okay. We start with those who are ready to join, and then we work our way out to try and think for everybody as a whole in a way that's inclusive and supportive to all.
What are some of the most impactful programs the Brick House has run recently?
Well, the food pantry, certainly. I don't want to belabor that. I talked about that a few times. I think that the teen center is certainly robust. Our teen center has more than doubled in size in the last year and a half. And that but presents challenges for us because more kids requires more structure. But that is sort of the thumping crazy heart of the Brick House. The art programming that we run throughout the entirety of the Brick House is just a way to bring people in, and so we just invested in our music studio. So I'm really happy about that, and I'm really looking forward. We have one of our AmeriCorps workers Philip Ragland. He brought with him. He's got experience as a rapper and as a producer, and so we've been building up the studio now. So I'm really looking forward to Philip being able to do more with the studio now that he's got more gear and more resources. So, and then I'm also looking forward to see what the kids do with it as well. I think our parent family support programming has grown alongside our food pantry. So we're constantly running up these little programs to try and help people as they describe the need for.
How does the Brick House cooperate with other organizations or local government?
Well, we can't do anything alone by ourselves. We are a very robust organization, and we're lucky to have a really beautiful community center. But not every problem can be solved by us, and not every problem should be solved just by us. So we work very closely with Heartwing, who are across the street from us, and so we collaborating on youth programming together. We're collaborating on emergency support together, basic needs together. We're collaborating on domestic violence, and we're partnering on the Montague Food Security Coalition. This about a year ago, maybe a little more, Town of Montague began doing an environmental justice assessment, and they did a really robust job of community engagement and identified a bunch of issues, including food security. So the Montague Food Security and Sustainability Coalition actually grew out of the town's MVP 2.0 program. That then I said, hey, look, Brickhouse can build this up. So we're working with them. They are part of the coalition. And then we're working with the town. I'll be going to they're starting to look at how to protect and build up their downtown, their main street, and retail stores. So I'll be sitting in on a focus group. And as I'm doing that, I'll be listening, see what the needs of the local businesses are. So that becomes then a way for me, the Brickhouse, think about how can we help the local businesses, because of course greater economic activity is better for the town, more jobs, and how can we help? And so there's just this constant dialogue between us and with our partners. We partner with United Arc on a not-for-profit work group, uniting all the local not-for-profits in the county to try and help us leverage each other's resources, look for ways to help each other, identify our problems, and develop common solutions. So nothing is ever done by yourself. It's always done in community, whether it be the community that's immediately around you or the organizations in common cause to try and solve a bigger problem.
What are some of the biggest challenges the Brickhouse faces today?
The need is greater than our resources. We're supported, thankfully, by several state contracts, which allow us to keep our core programming going. But as I said, our youth program has more than doubled in size. And I'm the executive director. I have a lot of work that's unrelated to fundraising, but then I also have to write grants. So we're constantly struggling to raise enough money to allow us to grow to the capacity of the community's need. And I would say that that's the greatest challenge for us right now. One made more difficult because of the current political climate that is threatening our organization and other organizations like us.
What are some barriers the organization encounters when trying to help the community?
Developing the capacity to answer the problem as fully as it needs to be addressed. The organization, we're very responsive, we're very aware, problems that can be solved either by ourselves or in partnership with our fellow organizations, we move forward to do. But some problems, big problems out there, housing, homelessness, these are problems that are greater than us, greater even than the sum of all our partner organizations. And that's a central problem right now in a lot of communities, particularly communities that are poor. And so we advocate with the state, and we keep pressing the envelope. And again, we're going to be partnering with the town to try and look at ways to address the affordable housing shortage. But that's a big knotty one because it costs millions of dollars to solve affordable housing crisis. And even the biggest solutions quite often are not enough.
I understand the Brick House just lost several AmeriCorps volunteers. How will this affect the organization?
It's a challenge for us. We do, our AmeriCorps volunteers play a vital role in our youth programming. That's where they're centered. And we're going to struggle a little bit because AmeriCorps splits the money. So we pay for half that person's salary, and then the federal program passed through Dial Self covers the other, and that program passed through the federal government also provides health benefits and some educational opportunities, tuition remission or student loan relief. So that's a gap. So what we're trying to do is use the money, the $20,000 that we had, and try and see how far we can get without it. And then we're going to have to fundraise. We're going to have to raise grants, and we're going to struggle.
How can people get involved at the Brick House?
We're always looking for support. A good gateway to the Brick House would be to volunteer at our food pantry, which is from 10 to 1 on Mondays, 9 to 12 on Thursdays, and 10 to 1 on Saturdays. So we're always looking for people to help us. And it's a good way to, the training is very quick. And from the get-go, you can have a positive impact. Beyond that, we're always looking for people to join our various committees. We're setting up a youth advocate committee to try and build, to support the teen center and the youth in the town. We have fundraising committees, which we desperately need people on. We have a finance committee. We have a space committee who help. Basically, they facilitate outside organizations using our space, which is, very nice, and can be used for a wide variety of purposes. Or they could just reach out to me, and at TTAAFFE@brickhousecommunity.org. Just reach out to me, and we'll look for a way to plug you in.
How can people support the Brick House?
Well, we always need resources, and so if you have the capacity to give a donation, please go to our website. There's a donation page. Give what you can, but also feel free to reach out to us and say, "I'd like to become involved. How can I help? Here's what I can do," and then we'll look for a way to plug you in. If you see our Facebook page, like us, cheer us up, pass our postings on to other people, and then say the good word.
What are your hopes for the future of the Brick House?
I hope that we continue to grow as we have. I hope that we can expand. One of the areas where I know that we need to expand the most is parent and family support programming. And that's a challenge for us because some of the problems of adults should not be done in the same space where children are. So in the longer arc, I hope to try to develop a second space where parents and families can come get help that they need, and where we can grow our support for them. We are building our mutual aid programming, which is connected to our community engagement programming, because in this time when programs are being cut, the community needs to find ways to help solve the problems that we're finding in our space, in our midst. And that's ways in which you could help the person sitting next to you. And so we've started to convene mutual aid engagement meetings, community meetings centered around how do we organize ourselves around mutual aid. The Food Security and Sustainability Coalition has built around mutual aid. One of the brightest lights in our coalition is not one of the although all the organizations are doing great work, but a group of community gardeners who are growing food and donating it to the pantries. They're called Drawdown Montague, and they're looking for people to join their group and to grow food to be donated to the pantries. And that is another example of volunteers doing what they do, growing food in their garden, and then donating their surplus to others. And that is one example of community aid that the Brick House is trying to foster, and that Drawdown Montague was already doing. So having them join our coalition really brought a lot of life and a lot of humanity to what we were trying to do, because it's easy when you're a bunch of organizations sort of meeting together and we all get really wonky and we talk about grants and we talk about this, but then you have a group of people walk in who are just doing it for the right reasons, donating their time, and they brought so many beautiful ideas: seed sharing, partnering experienced gardeners with people who may just want to grow some vegetables on their porch. And that allows the dream to grow beyond a grant application, beyond a defined program, and really keeps the Brick House grounded in the community and a way for the community to keep feeding us and for us to keep feeding the community, and then using our space as a place where we can come together to solve problems as they emerge. And I think that's the thumping heart of the Brick House. It's how we began, and it's how we're continuing to grow, and it keeps us grounded and alive. And I mean, if there's one word I would say about the Brick House, it's love. There's a lot of love. And when people walk into our space, they feel that love. And when Drawdown Montague joined our coalition for food security, they brought love. And now everything is driven by love. It may still need dollars. It may still need a space to do this. It may need staff to make things happen. But when love is there, things happen. Flowers grow. And that is the air that the Brick House breathes.
Are there any new programs or initiatives on the horizon?
Well, the food security thing is one that's emerging. We just got it started in the spring, and it's growing very nicely. We've grown from 5 organizations to 24, 25 people. The tech school is starting their own food pantry, and the food bank connected us with them, so we're sponsoring that. So things are just constantly growing. We just started doing this year Teen Center After Hours, because the Teen Center has been getting younger. So we have a lot of 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds. But then we also serve 18 to 22-year-olds. A 13-year-old and a 22-year-old, what do they really have in common? So we decided to, we were lucky to get a couple of grants from the Peabody, from United Way, and we created this Teen Center After Hours. Would allow us to provide programming for older kids. We've been doing a lot of LGBTQ programming. Started with family night, just to bring queer families together, and now we're doing queer community night. And then through the Teen Center After Hours, we have an LGBTQ youth program, which allows self-identified queer youth to come together to get support and have mentoring and just the space to be themselves, to have a positivity, to be comfortable in who they are, accepted in who they are. And that's something that we strive for throughout all our programming and all the various communities that we work in, is to be accepted for who you are. Tell us what you need, and then we try to grow with you to make more programming that allows you to grow and serve, and for us to serve.
What legacy do you hope to leave through your work at the Brick House?
A greater richness of what we are, what I found when I came here. More robust youth programming, more substantial parent and family support programming, more robust art programming, and a more vital community engagement, so that the Brick House can be that third space, that hub where the community can come together in times of crisis or in times of need to solve their problems together, or to develop an agenda that allows them to go seek support, and to grow our coalition, our various coalitions of organizations dedicated to the common cause, be it the youth, be it parents and family, be it basic needs, food, housing, transportation, whatever we need, however we need to grow in order, the economic life of the town, to grow as we need. One of the things we did that we do that I didn't mention is we also run Project AMP, which is a substance misuse mentoring program for teenagers. We do it in the middle and the high schools, and that's another area that I hope we can grow, because there's a lot of addiction. Poverty produces trauma. People self-medicate to try and address their trauma. So I'm not, without needing to take from what other organizations are doing, but to be that front line where people can come and say, I need help. How can I help? How can we help? So growing that programming, helping kids before they get down the road too far, help their families if they've gotten in too deep. And always, in all ways, accept people as they are and help them grow, help them overcome their obstacles, help them perceive a better tomorrow for themselves, and map the road to get there. That's what I hope. That's the legacy I hope to leave. I inherited that legacy. I didn't invent it, and I just hope to leave the place in a richer than it was when I found it.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Life is complicated and full of tragedy, and it can be very overwhelming. I think the best thing to do is to get up in the morning, try to do the right thing, try to make it through the day, not having done the wrong thing, reflect on your shortcomings and your mistakes, reboot in the morning, and try to do better. And if you give to the world the world gives back. And in that sense, I am fruit of that. I have had a wonderful life, and I hope to have a few more years of wonderful life. But I could have had a very different road. The kids that I got out of, the kids in that stolen car when I was 12, who were talking about going into the drug trade, most of them didn't make it out of their 30s. They all went to jail. They all ended up with bad drug habits, and most of them were dead before they were 40. I have lived twice as long as they did, and I have had a wonderful life. Despite coming from a tough place, doors open. That's why I say yes. Say yes to your better tomorrow. Don't think that because you're told by others that you're not worth something, that you're not worth something. They're giving you an agenda. They're putting you down so that you don't try. Now, it doesn't come easy. You got to work hard. Sometimes you meet obstacles. You have to listen to you pay attention to your mistakes, learn from your mistakes, listen to the people who may be one step ahead of you or 5 steps ahead of you, but believe in yourself. You're worth something. Believe in yourself and carry forward. Say yes to the good opportunity. Say no to the bad opportunity. And do the right thing. Because if you do the right thing, people will notice and they will offer you opportunity. And sometimes opportunities you just couldn't imagine. And you just keep following that path. And in time, you will have a wonderful life.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you.
No problem. And thanks for watching GCTV. See you next time.